Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot and Beyond, and I am here to do a political reading for you all today. Going to touch base on a couple of things that are going on right now, a couple of hot topics, take a look at some things, pull some cards, see what Spirit has to say to give us a little more clarity. First and foremost, I thank all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate your support, as well as my continued loyal folk. And my members. Can't say thank you enough to you all for investing in my channel and my content. So always happy to show up for you and do my absolute best. And as as we connect, it gives me motivation as well. That said, let's get motivated about some of these topics I've got today. Going to try to keep this short, but a couple of things I want to look at. Number one, this sort of teeter-totter or tension that's happening between judges and attorneys in a couple of the Trump cases. In New York, we have Juan Merchan, who is really not very happy and is not making a secret and trying to cover up. He's not happy with Trump's lawyer, Todd Blanche. What I did not know, and I'm going to get into that with you all for a moment, is who is Todd Blanche, and where did he come from, and how did he even get to this position with Trump? So some interesting stuff I discovered around that. You all probably already knew it, but it opened my eyes. Secondly, the second judge attorney thing is Eileen Cannon and Jack Smith. Now, and they flip-flop. In the New York case, Todd Blanche has got his work cut out for him with Juan Merchan. Merchan is going to handle his business with that trial. Cannot wait. Eileen Cannon, on the other hand, just the opposite. Jack Smith is about to put her out to pasture, right? He is going to make a move. He's put her on notice, but we're going to look at that. We'll go to the cards. Third thing is Ron DeSantis is pissed to the height of his pistoriety, you all, because he put 5 of the 7 members on the Florida State Supreme Court, and they in turn have said, oh sure, we'll allow an abortion ban, one of the most horrific, and joined this whole swath now of southern states. If you look at a map right now where abortions are banned, I wish I had a picture to show you. One day I'll get more technical and I can impose pictures on the screen for you, but look it up. The whole, from Texas, all Louisiana, Georgia, all the way across the entire Tennessee on down, the whole entire southern swath of the United States now is in the red concerning abortions. And Florida was the lone holdout. Now this ban is about to go into place. And however, the state Supreme Court, DeSantis is so mad, has turned it over, and it will be put on the ballot in Florida in November. So we're going to take a look and see. Now, of course, the Democrats are, a lot of the DNC, etc., a lot of talk around, does this mean, is this going to open up a door for Biden in Florida? Switching Florida, flipping Florida, I don't know. But we're going to go to cards on that. And the last thing is today, from what I understand, Biden is set to have a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu. That situation is so thick, so unreal, so unimaginable. But what I want to look at is, Benny Gantz is on the sidelines, and he has gone so far now as to call for September elections. We also have seen an increasing presence of Israeli protesters and demonstrations also saying, we've had enough of Netanyahu. We want him out. Benny Gantz is like, I'm your guy. I'm right here. I'm ready to do the job. So going to take a look and see if anything will come of that. If, in fact, we're going to get rid of Netanyahu and have elections in Israel in September. Of course, there is so much that can happen, in Gaza, etc. between now. Now we got Iran in the mix with Israel. So there's a lot more damage that Netanyahu can do between now and September. But be that as it may, I do want to take a look and see if that September election is a reality. All right, let's go in. First and foremost, I want to start out this, before I go to the cards, with a little bit of humor for you all. Have you heard about Lara Trump's, the co-chair, Trump's daughter-in-law and co-chair of the RNC she's got this song that she released last week. I did not know she was a singer. And, that clearly is very questionable. Jimmy Kimmel, etc., have apparently gone in on that. But she's got this song she put out called Anything is Possible. But I wanted to share with you all some words from one of the coverage that's been done about that. There's a piece in the Toronto Star that was done by a Vinay Mignon that just had me howling, and I wanted to share it with you. And again, I'm sorry I can't put this up on the screen. One day I'm gonna learn how to do all this technical stuff, but bear with me. You can look it up. It was on. It's in the Toronto Star. It was on April 2nd, and the writer is Vinay Vinay Mignon Menon. All right. Title of the article tells you a lot. It says, "How bad is Lara Trump's song? Anything is possible. So bad it might save America." And he goes on to say, this had me howling. He says, he's speaking from his point of view. He says, "As a general rule, I always cheer when people chase down their dreams. But in this case, Miss Trump's billboard dream is a potential weapon of mass destruction." The Donald's daughter-in-law and new co-chair of the Republican National Committee believes she is a singer. It's like Bigfoot trying to pass himself off as a Lilliputian. Before I rant, listen to Anything is Possible and judge for yourself. I simply advise the use of headphones if there are babies or skittish pets within hearing range. If using speakers, please also remove all breakables from the room. I love this. So he goes on to say a few other things, but you get the drift. I actually worked up my courage and went on X and found a clip of it, and it is absolutely as bad as this guy and Kimmel and others have said. Not, it's unimaginable that on the one, but having said that, Lara Trump and company, from what I understand, the RNC did raise in March $65 million for the party. 64 of which is going to have to, they'll have to find some way to funnel that towards Donald for his legal bills. Although from what I understand, there's, technically they still are not supposed to do that, but we all understand, we see the writing on the wall, and we know why Lara Trump was brought in. Supposedly, what is it, Save America, his PAC, Trump's PAC is still, footing most of the bill for his legal fees, but we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, I just wanted to start that out with a little bit of humor for you all. So now I want to look at this tension. Oh, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Todd Blanche. I did not know this. I may be late to the party. Maybe you already knew. So Todd Blanche was a New York State prosecutor for the Southern District of New York. He and Alvin Bragg apparently know one another, at least in a professional capacity, quite well. He was there for, I believe, as a prosecutor for 10 years, worked his way up, got with one of the most prestigious firms in the world, Caldwell. I hate not having my facts in front of me. Caldwell something. If you type Calawader, Calawader, you'll get, it's like a 3-name firm. It's one of these big muckety muck firms, right? Like if you land there, you've made it. And he made partner. All right. So this man, young, he's only 49 years old. He's doing all of this, got married in his 20s. Grandfather, apparently, supposedly in his 40s. Not sure all of that. I didn't go too far into his personal life. But, guy was doing very well. Wife's a doctor, doing really well. And then he gets sucked in, and he was a Democrat. Don't let me forget to say that. He was a Democrat. Now, all of a sudden, last year, he jumps ship from this really cushy, incredibly prestigious law firm. His ticket was written for life. Jumps up and decides he's going to get on Trump's gravy train. Not only did he do that, but he went so far as to move his family to Florida and supposedly has a home, supposedly has a home within, certain proximity to Mar-a-Lago. So this man just completely uprooted and shifted the course of his entire life and that of his family to hitch on to Trump's coattails, presumably because he thinks, and that's what we're going to look at as well, he thinks that Should Trump win, then for sure he's looking at attorney general or something along those lines. Something, it was a power move and a power grab. But what sold him? Like, what made him drink that Kool-Aid? But also, Juan Merchan has put him on notice. Todd Blanche was the architect of this whole, remember the recent delay in the New York hush money trial with, all of a sudden now we've got these, tens of thousands of documents we need to look at. And Merchan called that out, said, I'll give you a little bit of time, but we're not going to delay any more because this was a play. I see it's a play, you see it's a play. But also, Blanche has teed off Merchan, because he has made in his filing some really disparaging and unnecessary remarks, like Trump-esque remarks around the Bragg and his team. And Merchan is like, first of all, that's where you cut your teeth, sir. We both know that. That's where you cut your teeth. So don't come at us with that. What watch your language, watch your attitude, and be respectful. So he's been put on notice. I want to see how that's going to work out. Will Todd Blanche be sanctioned by Merchan, or will there be something that where Blanche's behavior becomes or position becomes problematic for the case? And of course, I'll look more into the outcome of the case as we get closer to the trial. But right now, I want to look at Blanche. There's something there between the dynamic with Blanche and Merchan. All right, I've got theft, the moon. I'm using Lieberman style cards, and the scythe. Yeah, okay. This moon is about, Merchan is all about, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and there will be no secrets. There will be no subterfuge. You're not going to use wordplay in my courtroom to twist what you and I both know that we're really here to deal with and do. Theft, enough said, right? Crimes committed. This whole, Michael Cohen is going to do his part. We saw him leaving the courtroom yesterday, Wednesday, taping this Thursday morning, April 4th. Yesterday he was with the DA folk up in New York, I guess, getting prepared for his testimony. And we have a scythe, you all. Merchan is like, let me tell you something, Todd. You will, if you're going to come in my courtroom and you're going to present argument, you better be prepared to make this factual and the best it can be. And all of this rigmarole, all of these tactics around delay is not going to fly in my courtroom. It's not going to fly. So that face off between those two, for sure. Merchan is not afraid of him. This whole notion, the recent filings that Blanche and his team did around trying to get Merchan to recuse himself because of what his daughter's business does with this digital campaign stuff. He's like, come on, guy. Is that all you got, right? So that's not going to happen. And this was done for occupation. Thank you. This was done for occupation. And also, I think Blanche's wife, who is a doctor apparently, I think his wife was behind it as well. Not behind it, but I think she signed on to it. The idea of power, the idea of what this can do for them and their standing, in terms of, not to mention the money, just the sheer financial gains, if in fact he's able to get a win for Donald Trump. Ain't gonna happen, son. So I'm wondering, occupation. He did this because he saw this as a way to get to Washington. Blanche. He saw this as a way to get to Washington. Or at least he's hoping it's a way to get to Washington. And apparently he believed enough in his own stuff to think, with all of the evidence against Donald Trump, that he would be able to at least delay it long enough that if Trump, which we know is the game plan, if Trump were to pull off the election, that he'd be able to pardon himself and all of this would go away, and Blanche would be in position to, to, again, attorney general, whatever else. All right, so that's his motivation, but he ain't gonna get very far with advancing that aspect of his personal ambitions with Juan Merchan. It ain't happening. Now let's move on to Florida. Jack Smith and Eileen Cannon. Jack Smith, he's like, okay, you want these jury instructions. We don't even have a trial date. Like, who does that? This is not even making sense. Okay, I'm not gonna miss the deadline. I will go ahead and do it. And so now both sides have apparently submitted their proposed jury instructions. But Jack Smith went one step farther and said, Eileen Cannon, Judge Cannon, your whole thing here is flawed. And he used that word. That is so enormous for an attorney to come out, with a case in front of a judge and tell them to their face what you are doing is wrong. And so he's positioning her. He's making sure that she doesn't get the upper hand to the point where she can make a call during the trial and then it's non-appealable. Jack Smith and his team would be stuck. They wouldn't be able to appeal it. So this man is playing chess. He is not about checkers. He's playing chess. So he's pushed that envelope and saying you're going to have to rule on, one way or another, so that then he can get to the takes it to the appeals court, the 11th Circuit, and potentially work toward getting her removed. Now, I know there have been a lot of wonderful psychics who do psychic politics who have said Eileen Cannon's days are numbered regardless. She's not going to last. She was not qualified to even be in this position. She was one of Trump's appointees as he was headed out. So, of course, she's beholden to him. That connection is very clear. There's some allegedly some stuff out there around her husband having some mob ties. And now, if Trump isn't putting on the helmet these days of being, the new Christ returned, he is, he's the mob boss. He's, Don, the new improved Don Corleone, right? It's like he'll wear whatever hat he needs to wear in front of whatever crowd he thinks is going to support him. But anyway, all right. So will Cannon be ousted? We have a good outcome. Yes. We have the cat. That's her. That's, that's her being catty. And we have the cross. This is the decision that's being made about her commitment or a ring, the cross and the ring. So this is a decision that will be made. This is going to go to the 11th Circuit. Jack's going to get this to go to the 11th Circuit, and she's going to mess around and be out of the loop. Thank goodness. A false person. Yeah, that's her. Because, nobody's dumb. We know that we know who appointed her. The 11th Circuit will know who appointed her. Then they'll watch her moves and watch her, watch what she's done so far, which is basically nothing. But when she has made pronouncements or given directives, it's been so counter to anything that would actually advance the case or was even necessary. So yeah, she's out of there. There's the key. Jack Smith is waiting for her to give him the key to go ahead and get this to the 11th Circuit, and him filed his recent filing where she's going to have to rule one way or another on this PRA, the Presidential Records Act. It's going to be her downfall, and I think Jack Smith is going to outwit, outlast, and outplay Eileen Cannon. All right, moving on. DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis appointed, when he was a 2019 or whatever, he ran roughshod. He removed replaced 3 of the liberal justices on the Florida Supreme Court, state Supreme Court, with conservatives. So you have a 7-person court, 5 of them hard conservatives appointed by Ron DeSantis. He thinks he's got the court on lock, right? So the ballot issue comes up, abortion and marijuana, mind you. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. Legalized recreational marijuana in the state of Florida. And these justices come out and say, well, as to the marijuana issue, let's just put that on the ballot. Let the voters decide in November what they want. 60% go for it, then it will become legal and for use as a recreational drug in the state of Florida. And but also the abortion issue. So they backed him up. And as of May 1, there is a 6-week ban on abortion that is going into effect in the state of Florida. But then they doubled back around it and said, however, we will put this and allow the voters to put this on the ballot. Now, that caused a lot of woohoo in the Democratic circles who said, well, wait a minute now. Normally we just say don't even bother with Florida. It's a done deal. But now there's like, well, maybe there's some hope. Maybe. Like maybe we should start allocating some of our advertising dollars and get some more visits down there. Get us a few more surrogates to go in Florida. Like me, maybe Florida is now in play. The thing is, and some other pundits are saying, don't get your panties too far in a bunch with that, because, and I didn't mean anything offensive by that. I just realized, like, okay, um, it's more about recognizing that how this ballot initiative really got this far was very much in order to even promote it and get it to this point, was in with the help and the backing of many Republican voters, many Republican women voters in the state of Florida. And when you just crunch the numbers, and you go through the districts in Florida, Florida is by far, has more registered Republicans than Democrats. So, but Obama did it. Obama flipped it, and a lot of Republicans, went his way even. So whether or not they'd ever admit it. So we'll see what happens with that. But I want to see if I do want to check in with Spirit and just see whether that ballot in November, 100% it's going to pass. But I just want to, let's ask. We have a false person. That's DeSantis. He is so mad with the House. Yeah, he feels so betrayed. False person with the House. He feels so betrayed because he really felt like he was trying to do, little, they called him mini Trump or Trump 2.0, back when he was really starting to get hot. He really thought that he had the Supreme Court sewed up, that whatever he decided, they would comply with that. So he is feeling a level of betrayal from them. He is so mad. And there's the tower. Yeah, and this is not in this sort of deck, the tower doesn't mean the same thing that it does in tarot. This tower is more about organization, about his government, about what he felt he was putting into place with his legislature and Supreme Court. So yeah, he is so outdone with it. Now, to the question of whether I feel like the ballot is going to pass, and that's also why he's upset, because the ballot measure will pass in November in Florida. So it will enshrine abortion in the state constitution. Will that support for the ballot measure parlay into more votes for Biden, or make him more competitive? We have hope. All right, let's not write it off. We have hope. All right, let me adjust my attitude, because I'm so tired of it, with that. And a book represents knowledge, and it represents understanding more about what's at stake, and how abortion rights in Florida speaks to a greater cause, or a greater perspective, even among conservatives. And you know what, too? This made me think, forgive me, this made me think of that Bible thing that Trump was waving around recently, because what we have not heard, and this is going to put a real squeeze on Trump, he's at his home state, right? Quote unquote home state. He's going to have a position on this. And in the past, he's sort of wavered back and forth, because he could see, this man is a crook. He's allegedly. But he's always looking for the opening. He's always looking for the winning hand. And he even said during the primaries, or early on in the primaries, while people like DeSantis and Haley were still in the mix, that on abortion, he felt like some of them, they were pushing it too hard and getting it wrong. It was going to tick a lot of people off. So, a good outcome. You know what, you all? I'm not going to get my hopes up on this day in April and say I think Florida will flip. But I am going to say that as the news has been saying since since this ballot measure has come up in Florida, Biden and the Democratic Party, and even the down ballot races, okay, they're reminding me of that. So in general, this issue is going to be helpful to the Democrats. Whether or not it will flip the state, big question mark there. All right. And quickly, I just want to go. I'm already at 25 minutes. I wanted to keep this short for you all. Today, Biden is scheduled to talk with Netanyahu. we'll see what the outcome of that is. I have a feeling, Biden is apparently super pissed, and he's a Scorpio. To have a Scorpio super pissed is not what you want, right? You don't want that smoke. So Biden is super pissed at what happened with the people with Jose Andres's group and the World Central Kitchen, right? Like, he is done. But at the same time, still shipping off weapons, to help Netanyahu carry out his task. So it'll be interesting to know. I think he's going to make very clear his frustration with this situation. The idea that there is still no really, there's no momentum that's been built around negotiations for a ceasefire. We've got NATO out here now, throwing some straws up in the air like, well, maybe we need to be the ones to step forward and come up with this $100 billion plan over 5 years to help Ukraine, the Ukraine effort. So there's this whole dynamic that I know Biden is feeling in terms of the erosion, or the perception of the erosion of America's ability to move the needle where international affairs are concerned. And I think he's going to have some choice words with Netanyahu, but we also know Netanyahu is like, whatever, he's gone off the bin, he's off the farm, and what's going to come of that, we'll see what comes of that. But I do want to look at, in the meantime, we've got Israeli protesters, demonstrators who are done. They want Netanyahu out of there. And we've got Benny Gantz also saying, listen, all right, maybe we should have elections in September. I could easily, I'm your guy. I could do that. And he has tremendous support. So I want to see if, in fact, there will be, will there be elections? Will Israel hold elections in September? And if so, will Netanyahu be ousted? We have birds, conversations being had, the idea that this is not going away. This is not going to just get swept under the rug. This is going to be an issue, and there are a lot of people who are going to push for it. We have the child. This is a youth movement that's going to help really advance the cause and the protesters who want this September election to take place. This is, and I've got the book again. This feels like the laws on the books as well. Thank you, Spirit. This is, they want a shift. They want a fundamental shift. Will it occur? Will they actually, they're telling me to go to tarot. Will they be able, will there be an election in September in Israel? Will Israel hold elections in September? 5 of Pentacles. Not so sure. 7 of Wands. But the issue is not going away. It's a strong maybe. 7 of Cups. Knight of Pentacles. 2 of Wands. Spirit, please give me a major arcana that leans me in one direction or another. Please give me a major arcana that leans me in one direction or another. 8 of Swords. 3 of Swords. And the Devil. Not so sure. I gotta tell you. Maybe let's hope the energy will shift. But the Devil is like in the clutches, and that 3 of Swords is that fear. We do know that many of the demonstrators, the Israeli defense folks, the military, have come down pretty hard on them. Water cannons. I saw one image, them being water cannons and whatnot being put on the protesters. So this is definitely an upward climb, and I'm not sure. We know Netanyahu is going to go out one way or another. He's his karma is out of there. 2 of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles. That's him trying to strike a deal, or perhaps trying to buy time. And there he is, King of Swords. That's Netanyahu. Yeah, he's still. And Page of Wands. He's got his little followers. For better or for worse, you all, Netanyahu has quite a bit of a stronghold on the powers that be in his ministry, in his cabinet, and Benny Gantz, and as well as the Israeli public, the populace, it's an uphill battle for them to get to actually, this is April, for them to actually get elections in September. And I'm not even sure, I'm not familiar enough. I'm going to familiarize myself with the laws to, how do elections even occur there? Like, who calls for them? Apparently there's, or is it like us where we have, we know in November every 4 years, that's our first Tuesday, that's our election. So I'm not sure how that works, but for right now, the idea of Netanyahu, this uprising, and getting Gantz in place of Netanyahu, that looks like it's kind of flatline. I don't see it diving, but I definitely don't see it climbing. All right, let's keep the faith, you all. Take good care. Welcome your comments, and I will talk to you again real soon.